Before we built cities, we built memories. And when the world changed, when ice melted, seas rose, and rivers broke their banks, our ancestors didn't write it down. They sang it. Every continent remembers the flood. Different gods, different tongues, one event that reshaped the human story. In India's oldest story, a tiny fish whispers to Manu, "A flood is coming. Build a boat." He ties the vessel to the fish's horn and rides the waves until the mountains of the north pierce the clouds. When the waters fall, he plants the seeds of life again. 10,000 years ago, Himalayan glaciers burst apart. Meltwater roared down the Indus and Ganges plains. Sediment cores still hold the signature of that deluge. So perhaps Manu's fish wasn't a god at all, but a memory of the rivers rising faster than men could run. Across the Sahara, people tell of a time when rain never stopped, when lakes became oceans and the desert bloomed green. Then the water vanished, leaving bones of fish beneath the dunes. Around 12,000 BCE, the African monsoon surged northward. Lake Megachad stretched wider than modern Germany. Within a few millennia, it dried to a dust bowl. The flood and the drought, two halves of one cycle. Africa's oldest storytellers still speak of it, when the world filled and when it cracked. The Greeks said Zeus drowned a corrupt humanity. Only Deucalion and Pyrrha survived in a wooden chest, and from their hands new people were born. Around 7,600 BCE, the rising Mediterranean spilled through the Bosporus, flooding the Black Sea basin. Freshwater shorelines drowned. Villages disappeared beneath 100 meters of salt. Archaeologists find their traces still: pottery, hearths, and suddenly, silence. Perhaps that's where the story of the Great Cleansing began. From the Andes to the Aztecs, the world has died more than once. Fire, jaguar, wind, and finally, water. When the fourth sun fell, the seas swallowed the earth, and a few climbed the sacred mountain to await the dawn of a new sun. As the glaciers of North America melted, oceans rose 120 meters. Coastal plains from the Yucatan to Florida vanished. Underwater, archaeologists now find hearthstones and spear points, homes of the first Americans, drowned. The flood ended a world, and the survivors named themselves after the sunrise. In the dreaming, the frog Tiddalik drank every river until the land split with thirst. The animals tried songs, dances, nothing worked until someone made him laugh. He burst, and the waters returned, flooding the world back to life. Pollen cores from lake air tell of a fierce dry spell at the end of the Ice Age, followed by sudden monsoons around 11,700 BCE. The land's memory fits the laughter: first drought, then flood, then renewal, where others feared the deluge. Australia remembered the joke that saved creation. Across Polynesia they tell of proud islands that vanished beneath the sea, punished, reborn, and navigated again. Canoes carried survivors to higher ground, guided by the stars. In Sumer, the gods warned Utnapishtim. He built a massive boat, sealed it with pitch, and rode 40 days of rain until the peaks of Ararat showed through the mist. Centuries later, the Hebrews called him Noah. Between 8,000 and 7,500 BCE, the Persian Gulf basin flooded. Coastal plains where early farmers lived sank beneath rising seas. Clay tablets and river delta cores tell the same story: the flood that reset the cradle of civilization. The world's oldest written myth, still echoing: remember the waters. When sea levels rose after the Younger Dryas, the continents of Sahul and Sunderland fractured into the islands of Indonesia, New Guinea, and Australia. Underwater riverbeds still map the old coastlines sung about in voyaging chants. Their maps were oral, their science celestial memory used as navigation. The Inuit remember a time when the sea froze solid and the world went silent. Then one day the ice broke open with thunder, a new land rose from the foam. At the Younger Dryas end, Arctic ice shelves shattered, shorelines shifted within a lifetime. The sound of creation was glacier thunder. Science now hears what story keepers have said for millennia. Myths remember. Ice cores, DNA, and drowned valleys traced the same pattern sung by our ancestors. Geology gives the evidence. Story gives it a heartbeat. Every continent tells it differently, yet together they whisper the same truth. When the waters rose, humanity did not forget. Subscribe to History Dude BC, where legends remember history.